Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So it's been a while, but yeah, like I said, I'm gonna share the short setup or the trade and the reasoning behind the trade that I took last week, which was on Nasdaq. So it's the 1 hour. You can see that Nasdaq has been in an uptrend, the entire week. Nasdaq has just been going. I don't know where she's heading, but she left the club without us. She's gone. She is not coming back. But yeah, we can see, if we look closer, we can see that Nasdaq has left equal highs, in the section, and it might have tricked traders into that retracement for going short. People might have think that was a double top and might have went short there, but we can see that price has just left equal highs, which means there's liquidity resting above there in terms of stop losses and buy stops. So that was the reason price continued its movement towards the upside, just to trick people into going short. But in this retracement, there definitely was an opportunity, and I'm definitely going to explain what the reason was and my logic behind taking the short. All right, so let's head to the 15-minute and I will get right to it. So yeah, we can see right here in this section that we have price made a high, all right, then price dropped, and we can see within that drop that price made, price broke a low right there, all right, which broke structure, and price also broke structure right there, all right. So yeah, so once that happened, my focus shifted, all right. So we can see while price made that drop, you can see that price has left a gap, which would be the high of that candle there. All right, I'm just going to change the color, and the low of that candle. So that's the gap that I was looking at once price dropped, and within that, price gave me another confirmation, which would be these two up close candles. That is the bullish order block, right, which price left there, which gave me more confirmation to definitely go short. All right, so I'm just gonna mark the order block out so you guys can see. It would be the low of that candle. Let me just change the color. Yeah, which would be the low of that candle. No man, yeah, right there. So there should have been your entry point, going short. You can see that price gave a lovely respect to that bullish order block that we had, so that was the reason, for my short that I went in last week. You can see that price played out lovely, and as for target, you guys have to look for logical reasons, for your targets. You can see that price has left a gap right there. You could have used that as a target, which would be the low of that candle. Let me just change the color, blue, yeah, and which would be the high of that candle right there. So you can see that price has closed in on that gap. Price does not always have to close in that gap, to the T. Sometimes price can just close in to the mean threshold and then reverse towards the upside. So don't expect price to always fully close in a gap or a void. Price can just reverse from that point. But yeah, that was the trade, the sell setup that I had. And also I noticed one thing which I just wanna ask you guys. Maybe you guys can clear this out for me, but I'm just gonna draw up a illustration right here on the side before I get to what I want to say. So excuse me. So usually what I've noticed is that once Nasdaq drops and Nasdaq goes either to the downside or the upside, what I've noticed is that most people, they tend to do stuff like this. Once they see Nasdaq impulsing towards the downside or upside, but in this case downside, they tend to put in orders like this. So what happens if price drops, you know, like what goes through your mind at that point? Because that's definitely chasing price, you know, in my view, you know, like what's wrong with one trade and one order, you know? Like there's nothing wrong with that, you know, it just works in with your psychology. But what happens if Nasdaq does this? What then? What goes through your mind as a trader? Like, do you close the account? Do you hope that it goes towards the downside? Was the risk in your account the entire account? Or, you know, it's like, what if that happens? You know, like, I have no idea why people do this, especially on 1,000 Rand, 2,000 Rand account, you know. Like, why not just risk part of that account, you know? You take a loss, make it minimum, and then go back to the drawing board and you work out why you took a loss, and then just capitalize on the loss that you took, you know. So that always like makes me wonder why traders tend to do that. And I'm also gonna draw up another illustration which I've also noticed. I'm just gonna round up rough figures right here, so just give me a moment. 123, let's make it 130, let's make this 1645. Yeah, also what I've also seen is that when your account looks like this, all right, I've noticed that traders mostly, they tend to, or people in general, you know, they tend to just hope that it gets in profit and risk the entire account, or just hope that it goes south, you know. So same with the profit side, you know. It's human psychology. Like, let me just make 200 and add one more. Let's make this 3 to 1. Yeah, same with if it's in profit, you know. Like, we tend to always want more as human beings in nature, you know. We'd rather leave the loss and hope for more profit. Like, we need to work on our greed, most especially, because I think that's where it comes from, you know. Like, most especially when it comes to trading, we always want more as a trader, you know. The same with a 500 Rand example, you know. Why is it that when you have a loss, and you're in a loss of a 500 Rand, you would rather leave that and hope that it doubles the account or goes into profit, instead of closing that and making the 500 Rand your initial risk, you know? Like, there's nothing wrong with taking a loss of 500 Rand, but just hoping that it goes into profit, that's something else. The same if you in profit of a 500 Rand, you know, we tend to not want to take that 500 Rand, but we tend to leave a 500 Rand loss, you know. Like, we tend to hope that the account of the 500 Rand might go to 1,000, 2,000, even 3,000, you know, instead of making the 500 Rand, you know, your daily target, you know. And with the loss, we tend to leave that 500 Rand and not make that your initial risk, you know. Like, I'd rather say cut your losses, you know, and get back to the drawing board, save the account. But if you see it as the risk is your entire account, then yeah, I guess that's just how you trade or how you would manage your account, you know. But if you would rather save that account or want to save that account, rather make a 500 Rand your daily target, guys. Like 500 Rand a day for an entire month is not bad, you know. I think if you're consistent enough, you know, including the losses, that's roughly about 6,500 or 7,000 Rand a month. You know, if you consistently make 500 Rand a month, you know, it's not bad, guys. It's not bad. But, you know, it's like I said, we always tend to want more than that, you know. So it's really a psychology thing that we all need to work on, you know, myself included. You know, like I tend to struggle with psychology as well, but you know, you need to work at it. You need to better yourself when it comes to greed, you know, most especially greed, because we always tend to want more, you know, instead of having a daily target and having, you know, a risk profile which you would then follow in terms of managing your risk, setting up your risk appetite for every trade that you take, you know, so that also helps your psychology to being comfortable with what you're willing to lose and what you're willing to make. But yeah, guys, that was just the short that I took, you know, a quick recap. Price broke that and left a gap, and price broke another low right there, and within that retracement, you know, that was my reason, the fair value gap and void, and that last up candle, which was the bullish order block, and there was the entry. All right, so excuse me, also the illogical target would obviously be that the fair value gap or the liquidity void that we have there, you know, either the mean threshold of that, or you could aim for the entire gap or void, you know, but price doesn't always have to do that. Nevertheless, guys, that was the reason for my trade, you know. Until the next video, guys, I'll see you. I wish you good luck, happy trading, and have a blessed weekend. Cheers, guys.